Eric, do founders need to find an investor lead when they are raising with safes?
No! Great episode, Janelle.
Well, that might be the quickest episode of Uncapped Notes we have ever created. But Eric, maybe we should explain a bit more why founders don't necessarily need a lead when they are raising with safes.
Well, we have a lot of episodes to record, Janelle, but all right, let's talk a little bit more about this. So maybe the first context to set is that we're describing the scenario of an early stage startup raising their first few rounds of capital via safes.
Founders, if you want to understand what a safe is, we encourage you to go back to episode 35, How to Understand the YC Safe and Dilution. We cover all the details in that episode, but let's get back to the topic. Eric, say a little bit more about what you mean by first few rounds. How does a round even work when it comes to safes?
Okay, so this is actually a really important point you're making. But before we answer that, just a reminder to our viewers to please take a moment to like and subscribe to Uncapped Notes. Okay, we got the shameless plug out of the way. Let's get back to your question. So technically, there isn't a round that is taking place when you're raising via safes. The really neat thing about safes is that you can pretty much accept investments via safes at any time. If you want to raise $1 million right now via safes, great, go ahead. If your mom wants to randomly offer you $1,000 via a safe at some other random time, fine, go ahead and do it. Safes have made the entire concept of a round murky, which isn't a bad thing.
Okay, so if there isn't really a concept of a true round taking place with safes versus what you would see with a traditional price round, then it makes sense why a lead isn't necessary. It sounds like safes are the perfect instrument for founders to use to raise party rounds, where a bunch of smaller checks can come in to put together your desired raise. But Eric, isn't it true that party rounds are seen as negative signal to downstream investors?
Back in my day, when I was first starting out as a founder in the early 2000s, yes, party rounds were perceived as somewhat clowny, but thankfully that has changed entirely. Party rounds via safes are more common than not in the early stages today. And I actually think that they are better for founders, especially when it comes to taking money from a bunch of strategic angels.
Yeah, we've definitely seen this dynamic at Hustle Fund, where founders who have been good about strategically accepting angels have been leveraging these angels and their skills and networks to their benefit in growing their business.
Exactly. It's great to see. And I think that this makes the startup ecosystem healthier.
Well, we thought we were going to break the record of making the world's quickest Uncapped Notes episode, but I'm glad we spent a little time explaining why founders raising via safes in the early stages don't need to worry about having a lead.
Yeah, founders can set their own terms and collect a bunch of safes via a party round, and that's totally fine. And if you do get an investor who wants to set terms and lead at the early stages, that is fine too. It's great that we are in an era where there are more options for how founders can construct their fundraisers.
Founders, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next episode of Uncapped Notes.